This Equipment World video is brought to you by Chevron Delo 600 ADF Ultra Low Ash Diesel Engine Oil. It's time to kick some ash. Hi everybody, welcome back to Equipment World. You're watching The Dirt. I'm your host Brian, and today we're here to talk about some more surveying things on an autonomous level. But we're not going to the skies today with drones. We're going to stay on the ground with Civ Robotics. Today we have Tom Yeshurun from Civ Robotics here to tell us about a layout tool that could absolutely change your business.
So I came from a construction background, and we saw a big need for automation of surveying and specifically layouts. So our product is doing autonomous layout, guiding contractors where to build and what according to the blueprints. Literally marking coordinates on the ground with paint and then nails and whiskers or stakes, and providing the contractor clear instruction what to do at that point. If it's installing a pile, a type A, if it's striping the road with dashed lines or solid lines, or putting a stop sign in the intersection. Anything can be marked with using our machine.
Now, can you put in grade stakes and mark those appropriately? Because that's where a lot of surveyors struggle.
Yeah, look, as a civil engineer in the road construction, we did a lot of grade checking and a lot of grade staking. Our machine lays out the coordinates and provides the grade elevation of the ground, and it can tell you how much to fill or to cut based on the ground elevation. And then the person manually has to put that information on the stake, and they might have to do some offsets, but we provide the clear information to the surveying professional in the field or to the EPC directly. It's a tool.
So just to kind of give people an idea, and myself included, I'm assuming you kind of load your model into the little rover, and then you kind of tell it where it is in space, and then it goes and runs its program. Is that kind of the gist of how that works?
Kinda. From the model, if using Trimble or Top Gun or any other software of surveyors, you can export a list of coordinates that you want to lay out, usually known as CSV. It can be lat, long, northern, eastern, and we upload that to our machine, and we press start. And if you want to create a certain path, certain direction, you want to go northeast, north-south, or east-west, you can choose that on our platform, and it will create the most efficient route to do so. And as it marks coordinates, it also takes a high quality shot of elevation and provides that to the user in real time if they want to do for cut and fill, or later for quality assurance if you just want to do grade checking, for instance. Interesting.
And you said this has the ability to mark in paint, or you can actually shoot a nail with whiskers into the ground?
We've actually done the installation of physical stakes in the past. We no longer really offer that, but most of our customers, what they do is they follow the machine and hammer the nail in the stakes right after it. So we basically show them where to do it, and the size of the spray paint is the same diameter as the pull of the survey. So the survey crew usually goes and basically puts a dent in the ground, and the same size as the spray paint, or laser if you want to be even more precise, because it really does a cross on the floor, and then you can put the nail right on it, or a stake as you choose.
So my next question was, when I was under the impression this was more of an active surveying tool, but really this kind of works in tandem with its drone counterparts. You may go out and actually do the survey itself with a drone. This is really a secondary unit that will come in and actually do your layout.
It's funny that land surveying from the field has two tasks during construction: to mark where to build and to measure what was built. During pre-construction design, drones are great for seeing what's out there.
Sure.
And we're trying to help out the contractors to mark where to build. And that's actually, during construction, that's the biggest volume. We actually started out with drones and pivoted to ground platform because it was way more efficient from an energy, safety perspective versus drilling stakes with our drone.
So what kind of terrain can this thing handle? Because, most contractors aren't going to want to go out there and spend a day leveling a site just so you can run this little rover over it. How does that work?
So it's a 4-wheel drive system. We have 5-inch ground clearance and a 10-inch ground clearance models, and it can handle anything a buggy can. So we can surpass a lot of challenging terrain. We have different tire types, actually right above me.
Oh, wow. You got some knobby wheels, too. Loving it.
Yeah, that's for sale. That's for the Arizona terrain.
Yeah.
And we have sand tires, we have mud tires, which are a bit wider. We have our all-terrain tire, which is our typical one, and we also have road tires. We accommodate many tire types to handle these terrain. And from an inclination standpoint, it's a 4-wheel drive machine, handle 30-degree inclination, and it doesn't our accuracy at all because we have a very high-end IMU in our system that takes into account the pitch and roll and ensures that our marking are precise.
So roughly how much does this thing weigh? Is this something that one guy can comfortably take out and handle, or do you really need a team of two to lift this thing out of a bed of a truck?
So you don't need anyone to lift it up. We recommend getting small rails and just drive it up.
Oh, excellent.
But two people could lift it up, especially in the base models, which weighs about 70 pounds without batteries. And our more model is about 95 pounds without batteries. When I say that, because batteries weigh about 20 pounds.
Oof.
You want that battery because you want to run it for a long time. So
absolutely, that was my next question: is what kind of runtime do you get out of a battery that size? That's a good size battery. But before we get into that, I want to take a second to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Chevron Lubricants. Protecting your diesel engine and its exhaust aftertreatment system has traditionally been seen as an either-or proposition when it comes to choosing the engine oil that's going to protect your system. And that's exactly why Chevron spent more than a decade of R&D work developing a no-compromise formulation. Now, I don't have to tell you why a clogged DPF is bad news, but here's the real kick in the pants. 90% of that ash clogging up your DPF and then upping your fuel and maintenance costs, it comes from your engine oil. You might be thinking, why don't they make an engine oil with less ash in it then? You'll be happy to learn that Chevron agrees with you. They've developed a new ultra-low ash diesel engine oil that is specifically designed to combat DPF ash clogging. Delo 600 ADF with OmniMax technology cuts sulfate ash by 60%, radically reducing the rate of DPF clogging and extending the DPF service life by 2.5 times. Before you had to choose between protecting your engine or your aftertreatment system. Now you don't. Delo 600 ADF with OmniMax technology. It's time to kick some ash. What kind of runtime do you get out of a battery that size? That's a good size battery.
5 hours runtime, and you do a hot swap, so you're good for the whole day. So we give our customers 2 sets of batteries, and they can run it for the full work day, and just swap it out during a lunch break.
And then you as an operator, are you interfacing with the machine through an iPad? What are you using to actually interface and tell this thing to go?
That's a great question, and that has evolved through time.
Okay.
So we provide our customer with a rugged tablet that they can see what the robot is doing at that point in time and follow it. If it's the cut and fill, for instance, it will say what to write on the steak itself, the point name, the cut and fill, or the color of the steak. If you have a nails and whiskers, is on solo farms we've had 10, 20 colors sometimes. So it actually tells you the colors. And we actually recently released a software update with a speaker. So there's actually a speaker on the machine that speaks out the information. It says red, and that means the person has to pull up a red nail and install that in. Or moving forward also, you can put any information you want there.
Now I do have to ask, as someone who also came from the field, is this a pleasant and pleasing voice that says, red nail here? Or is it a screaming foreman voice so I feel comfortable and at home on the job site? Does it swear at me if I don't put a nail in immediately?
It's not like Siri that you ask her, talks smack to her and then, talks back to you. Right now we have a voice of a British man saying, red.
Perfect.
We're going to put more languages soon. That's one thing that we've been asked already is put Spanish, of course. Arabic as well for Middle East. Mark.
Now, is this capable of doing terrain mapping as well, or is it strictly a layout tool?
Look, when we mark, we measure every point. We actually do topos.
Okay, so it does topos as well.
Correct. And the longer you stay at each coordinate, the higher precision the elevation will be. And you can define that in the software. You can choose 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
For it to remain on location to further drill down into the accuracy.
Correct. The X and Y accuracy is great within 2 seconds. It doesn't get much better, looking at about 7 millimeters. The elevation, though, it takes time to get that 15 millimeters, which is the higher precision. I speak millimeters because that's where most surveyors are, but about ½ inch of elevation, that's if you stay there for at least 15 seconds. But if you stay for 2 seconds, you're probably going to get about a tenth, about 3 centimeters accuracy, which is enough.
Now, is this communicating with satellites to get that information? Is a base station of some sort required? What are the requirements outside of just the unit itself?
So our unit is just like a typical RTK rover. It can communicate with your base station over radio or internet or through the Entrip service provider, VRS. Any base station, most of our customers use Trimble with us and it works really nice together, but we've been used with we're compatible with many other companies as well.
So you will need some sort of a base station set up on site in order for this to work and have the degree of accuracy that you're going to need. It's not a fully self-contained unit, I guess, is what I'm shooting for.
So customers who don't have a base station, we can provide them one. But to be honest, a lot of customers who work in near job sites in the city or within a certain proximity from the network. So there's the networks, for Entrip and VRS, and then you don't need anything. It's using the internet. So as long as there's cell phone reception, we can get our correction data through the service providers.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Very interesting. So as long as you've got access to cell reception and you've got a decent signal, you don't need any additional equipment. It's handling everything.
It could do that. The closer you are to a base station setup that's part of the network, the more precise it will be. So if it's 20 miles away, I would not recommend it, but most of the customers are within usually 3 to 5 miles, and that's totally fine.
So what kind of training is required on a system like this? This sounds pretty complicated. How long does it kind of get you to get someone up to speed to where I could just take this thing out and start being reasonable with it?
Give me an hour. That's it.
Wow. That simple.
It's that simple. There's 4 buttons on the tablet: new, start, pause, and stop. And all you have to do is upload the CSV file, which most customers already have because they already generated that file for the handheld devices. And then it just follow the machine and just listen. It will tell you if there's an issue. It will tell you what to do. It will tell you what to mark and how many were marked. And the data flows immediately. So when the mission is done, an email report is sent to the management team or whoever you choose in the settings, and all the data is there.
Now, I just really connected the dots mentally. So as a contractor, if I have a fleet of scraper operators, which we all know in the industry, if there is a single grade stake in the field, they will hit it. Instead of me having to call the engineering firm out every time, if I own one of these systems, I just call the kid that's got it in the back of his truck. Hey, come do the layout on the cut fill for the scrapers again. And within a half hour, everything's laid back out and they can mow them over again. And it's not going to cost me, $800 to just have the survey out for 3 or 4 stakes.
Yep. You said 30 minutes. I'll probably say 5 minutes. But yeah.
So it's not going to necessarily do the whole site in one pass. You can tell it specifically, I want these 10 points done.
You can do a polygon in the area that you want to mark. Press start. It will go mark. And if you're doing spray paint, you're looking at about 3 points a minute.
How fast does this thing go?
About 3 feet a second.
So you're going to be putting a little hustle in your step following this thing around with your bag of steaks.
One of our customers, operator, lost about 20 pounds in 3 months using our machine just from walking behind it. So his wife is really happy.
Do you guys add that as a sales tool?
Look, there's a great thing here. We help our customers, and we actually like to have happy customers and users, because not necessarily the same person. The contractor can be buying the machine, but then he has a operator in the field using it who actually carries it. The operators love us because instead of carrying 20 pounds worth of equipment, the shoulders and a bucket, they're carrying a tablet and a hammer and maybe like 20 nails, and the robot carries the rest of the nails for them also. Awesome. So they really alleviate a lot of the weight off from their plate.
So my final question for you is, what applications does Civ Robotics really shine in? What are kind of, if you hit a high, your top 3, where is this thing really going to sing and really going to perform?
Our bread and butter is solar farms, because they require thousands of markings every day. We had a customer who laid out over 500,000 coordinates with our unit in a year. The second one is heavy civil. I would like to say, distillery plants and pipeline. They're also long linear projects, but also they have a huge volume of points they need to do from the earthwork perspective in the beginning. So like foundation work drains. The last use case that's showing a lot more growth in the near future is roads, road markings. If it's for a parking lot or if it's for a road closure, that require markings for the striping and for utilities and for trenching and for rails, barricades, anything.
Well, Tom, thank you so much. This has been really fascinating. I'm really intrigued to go do some more research on this.
Thank you for having me, Brian, and have a great day, man.
Well, thank you again to Tom for coming on the show to tell us about the new Civ Robotics rover. I didn't ask what we should call this thing, but as you can see, this is a really valuable tool, even for a contractor, even if you're not a survey firm. Like I stated there at the end, as much as we joke about it, having your engineering firm come out to lay out stakes every time one of your operators knocks them over can actually add up to become a very, very expensive job site cost. If you now have a tool that doesn't take a tremendous amount of training that now allows you to put that power in your hands, that can be an absolute game changer. So thanks again for Tom taking time out of his day to come on the show. Hope you guys learned something. We'll catch you on the next episode of The Dirt.